Hello, this is Travis, and welcome to T-Po's Corner. Today is day 9 of Evergreen month, where we focus on a keyword mechanic as defined by Wizards of the Coast. And today we're going to talk about the word equip, because it can get a little bit complicated. Here, I've got a deck that I put together. It's 69 cards, 25 creatures, which is about a standard amount of creatures, only 22 lands, although we do have a couple of multimodal lands in here, and some equipment. We've got 4 copies of Malefic, how do you pronounce that? Malefic Scythe. And it enters the battle with a soul counter on it. If you equip a creature, it gets +1/+1 for every soul counter on it. And whenever a creature dies, you get to put another soul counter on it. So basically, it pumps you up 1/1. But if you got it on that creature and that creature dies, suddenly it gets a second soul counter. And that counts as a second +1/+1 counter. So the next creature you put it on will become a +2/+2 creature. But you see, to bring it down, it costs 1 colorless and 1 black mana, and then that just puts it on the battlefield. Then to equip it, down at the bottom left there, equip it costs 1 more mana, doesn't matter the color, to put it on a creature. Okay, now that's different than some other stuff, because here's Traveler's Amulet. Traveler's Amulet is an artifact. It has an activation cost like 1 colorless mana, but it does a different function. It doesn't equip itself to a creature. Okay, that just gets us a different color land. Here's Shadowspear. It's a legendary artifact, so although I have 2 copies in the deck, I can only have 1 down at a time. If I put a second copy of a legendary thing down, you have to choose which copy stays, because both of them cannot occupy the same battlefield at the same time. Now this one has elements of both, right? It has an activation spell where you can make your opponent's permanents lose hexproof and indestructible until the end of the turn. But you can also equip it to another creature and give them +1/+1 trample and lifelink. So this one has both the activation kind of ability and the ability to equip. Alright, now we're going to make it just a tiny bit more confusing, but hopefully not totally. Here we have Rune of Sustenance. This is an enchantment. It's an aura rune. You're allowed to enchant a permanent. So if you enchant a creature, it gets lifelink. Okay, but if you want, the permanent you can attach it to is an equipment. And here at the bottom it says, as long as enchanted permanent is an equipment, it has equipped creature has lifelink. So what we can do is we can take something like the Malefic Scythe, we can attach Rune of Sustenance to that equipment, and then Malefic Scythe will actually have lifelink every time you equip it to somebody. As long as that enchanted aura rune stays on the scythe, you'll have the +1 stuff and you'll have the lifelink. Okay, hopefully I explained that properly and didn't confuse you anymore. Let's go through the entire deck real quick. I made it like a warrior deck and found some multicolored creatures that are red and white that have synergies with being able to equip weapons. So Resolute Strike, target creature gets +2/+2. If it's a warrior, you can attach an equipment you control to it. Usher of the Fallen, you can boast and create a white human warrior creature token when you attack. 1 copy of Blazing Volley to take out a whole bunch of 1/1s if we need to. We showed you Shadowspear, we showed you Traveler's Amulet, just to go get another basic land. 3 copies of Kor Blademaster, he has double strike, and equipped warriors that you have double strike as well. Leonin of the Lost Pride, whenever he dies, you get to exile a target card from an opponent's graveyard. That's good for if you're fighting a Croxer or something that tends to come back from the graveyard. We just showed you Rune of Sustenance. This one's cool too. I didn't mention when it enters the battlefield you get to draw a card, so it replaces itself. So this is why some of the reason why I don't mind going over the 60 card limit, the normal standard recommended 60 cards, because you do have a couple of things like that where it's like, you know what, does it really count as an extra card if it just replaces itself? 2 copies of Seasoned Hallowblade. This is another reason why I went over 60. Seasoned Hallowblade has a special ability. He's a warrior, he's 3/1, but when you discard a card from your hand, you can tap him and he gains indestructible. This is a good way to keep the creature on the battlefield, but you do need to be willing to part with some other cards from your hand. 1 copy of Swift Response, just for we have a few cards scattered throughout here for removal. The 4 size that I mentioned. 1 Kargan Intimidator. He's got 3 different powers that you can activate. As long as you've got the mana, you can spend 3 mana and activate all 3 if it's applicable. You can make him +1/+1, make another creature a coward so that it can't block any warriors, or give a particular warrior trample until the end of the turn. Shredded Sails to either destroy a target artifact or deal 4 damage to a creature with flying. 3 copies of the legendary dwarf warrior called the Forgemaster. Okay, whenever another non-token creature you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return it to its owner's hand. So if I've got somebody who has the Scythe on it and Koll's out and that creature dies, the Scythe stays on the battlefield just unattached. The creature comes back to my hand. Now if I got a creature that's a token, then I can equip those guys and give them +1/+1 just because Koll's around as well. 1 copy of Mirror Shield that gives +0/+2, has hexproof, so the creature has hexproof. And whenever a creature with Death Touch blocks or becomes blocked by the creature, you destroy that creature, so the Death Touch isn't going to hurt it. 1 Banishing Light, again removal. 1 Battershield Warrior to pump up my other guys when I'm attacking with them. Scrolling down, 1 Murder for removal. 1 Mythos of Nethroi for removal. This one, if you want, I didn't include it in this particular deck. I've got a little bit of black, a little bit of red, a little bit of white. But if you did have a splash of green along with that, you could destroy an entire non-land permanent. I kept it in here just to remove a creature. Suffocating Fumes gives a -1/1 to all my creatures' opponents. 1 copy of Expedition Champion. He gets +2 as long as I control another warrior. So I'm putting in stuff that the warriors complement each other. You stick 1 warrior in it, it helps another warrior. And I'm sticking in creatures that help you out with equipment. Here's Akiri, Fearless Voyager, legendary core warrior. When you attack a player with 1 or more equipped creatures, you get to draw a card. You can also unattach an equipment from a creature you control, and that way you make it become indestructible. So instead of discarding a card like up here with Seasoned Hallowblade, you can just unattach the equipment and you still get to keep the creature on the field. 3 Kargan Warleaders, because the more of those you can get out, the more powerful all your other warriors are. 1 copy of Legion Angel, and I've got the other 3 in the sideboard, so we can just bring 1 down and bring the others in, 1 at a time. 1 Sigiled Contender, he gets lifelink as long as he has a +1 counter on him, and that works out real nicely with if I get a single one of my size out, I can put it on him. 1 copy of True Love's Kiss to exile a target artifact or enchantment. Storm-Kiln Artist, here's a Dwarf Shaman, he gets +1 for each artifact you control. Also, he has Magecraft, so whenever I cost any instant or sorcery spell, I get to create a treasure token. That's the token artifact treasure you see to the left of him, and that can give you 1 mana of any color. And I'm explaining all these probably more than I normally would, just in case it's somebody's first time seeing some of these cards. I have 1 Planeswalker in the deck, Nahiri. She can create core creature tokens. You can attach equipment to it right away, so that saves you for the mana that you normally spend to equip something. For the cost of 2, you can look at the top 6 cards of your library, get a warrior or equipment card from them, and put it into your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Or for -3 to her loyalty points, she can deal damage to a target creature or planeswalker equal to twice the number of equipment you control that's on the battlefield at the time. So this is probably the glue that the deck is centered around, because she's got that combination of dealing with warriors and equipment. 1 copy of Winota Join Our Forces. If you've played Magic lately, you probably come across her. Whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can put a human creature card from them onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, and it gains indestructible until the end of turn. You sort of have to see it to believe it the first time. 1 copy of Doomscar, just in case we need to wipe the board. And 1 copy of Evercleave. Evercleave is a legendary artifact. It's probably one of the most famous artifacts around, because you can cast it while you're attacking, and it'll attach itself as soon as it comes into the battlefield if you want. It gives every creature that it's attached to +1/+1, and it gives them double strike, and it gives them trample. We have Amaria's Call. This is the double land. I only have 1 copy of it. If you want, just use it as a land, but otherwise, if you've got enough mana and time to spare, you can create 2 White Angel Warriors, 4/4 tokens with flying. And everything that's not an angel gains indestructible until my next turn. We have 1 other board wipe, Realm-Cloaked Giant, 1 copy of him. You can destroy all non-giant creatures or bring them back. Hopefully you can do the first one first and still save him as a creature later. Bring him back as a 7/7 giant with vigilance. Have 1 copy of Castle Ardenvale so that we can create more white human creature tokens. That'll help nicely with Nahiri. And lands. 1 copy of Great Hall of Starnheim I can sacrifice to create another 4/4 white Angel Warrior that has flying and vigilance. Lands. I have 2 copies of Axgard Armory. They come to enter the battlefield tapped, but you can sacrifice them too. Search your library for an R card or an equipment card, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Okay, final specialized, I got Shimmerdrift Vale, which it enters tapped again, but you can choose any color, because I got 3 colors I got to get. And Tyrite Sanctum, target legendary creature becomes a god. In addition, you get a +1/+1 counter on it, and you can sacrifice this land and put an indestructible counter on your target from that point. So you can get up to thinking about things like Winota. Maybe I could make indestructible. Maybe, well, Kargan's not legendary. Where's the other legendary? There we go. Akiri. I could make possibly, if the stars align, I could make them gods, so to speak, and then make them indestructible after that. If they stay on the battlefield for long enough and they're not removed, that is. So that's a handful. I know that it's a lot of stuff to go through and look at. If you're new, go ahead and just pause the video and look at these to your heart's content. We've got the deck list down below. You can go visit it if you want to look at them even more. With that, because I'm always assuming that there's at least one person that's new to the game that's watching the videos that needs some explanation and that kind of thing. Plus, this entire first month, we're talking about Evergreen terms. I'm trying to make sure that we explain them. They're not very difficult terms, I don't think, but there's enough to fill up a whole month. So there's a lot of terms to take in all at once if you're just beginning. So today, we created an entire deck with the hope, the intention, we're going to put it on the battlefield and we're going to equip everything that we can as fast as we can. And with that, let's take it out for a spin. Okay, this could be trouble. Only 2 lands so far, and only 1 color. But we can get the Seasoned Hallowblade down. And this will give us the other colors we need. Well, at least 1 more color. Turn 2. Always the one that requires the most thought. There we go. The Blademaster. Turn 3. Always the turn that requires the most thought, the most time. Do the exact same thing. Excellent. That's why we stalled on the Fabled Passage. We get 1 color, and that means we're free to go grab the other color. And since this is our 4th land now, they all get to be untapped. Okay, what do we want to do? We want to attack. They'll take everything, will they? I was figuring if they'd block, I'd suffocate fumes on them and make them pay for it. Are you attacking me already? What a meanie. Trying to get some fuel for Winota here. We got one non-human creature. And that's as easy as it takes. Look at that, nice! I can't really take all the credit, that's just how Winota rolls. But with the Blademaster as the non-human... Oh. Never mind. That happened quick enough that I can't even finish my thought. Okay, we've got one color, access to a second and a third. That should be enough to get us going. Bring down one source. Let's use it now to go get a plane. Coming. And use that to bring down our Usher. And do we want to give him lifelink already? Yes, we do. Let's go ahead and bring that down. I was hoping that would be land. I think this match is already going longer than the first match, isn't it? Seems like it. He's gonna grow if we can't kill him. Alright, there we got some choices. Let's see. If we put this down as white, and then we go get a swamp, that should give us a good starting color base to do what we want. We don't have removal, which is a problem. In case they have removal, we want to get this ready. And we'll go ahead and put this down next. But we're not going to attack. He might want to trade. He does not want to trade. Okay. So... what if we do want to trade? He wants them to grow until we can't get them. Oh, he's got his own equipment? Who allowed this? Did the magic deck sort out and find another deck that uses equipment? The same equipment as me? That's so horrible. Okay, that is useless right now. We'll go ahead and bring in some of the heavy hitters. And Legion Angel supplies her own replacement. And I don't want to use him to block, so he can go on and keep going. We might have to double block. Usually with this type of deck they have additional draw spells that pump up their quaddles a lot faster. If he can draw 3 cards, he'll pump him up farther than our ability to kill him. Okay, he was not ready for that. And I still need one more type of mana for that. Okay, do you have a counterspell handy? If you do, you're not willing to use it there. Okay, we're going to have to stay on defense. These guys are only going to grow more and more powerful. he messed up. And evidently, he wasn't willing to live with the mistake. So Morita the Frost. You can enter as a copy of the permanent. Except he didn't copy. He forgot. He was supposed to copy the original Quaddle. Instead, he did a copy of the Glasspool Mimic. The issue with Morita the Frost is it copies the permanent you control. This permanent is the base type, which you see to the left, which is the Glasspool Mimic, which is a 0/0 creature. So he mimicked a 0/0 creature, and it went straight into the graveyard. So let that be a lesson to you folks. Don't. You just got to remember, if you're going to play with Glasspool Mimic, don't copy it. Okay? It's good to copy other things. Oh. He could, he still had 2 big creatures out there who were going to grow bigger and bigger. I don't know that that's really a big triumph of my deck so much as just he couldn't handle the error that he made. Let's see what card we get anyway. Narfi Betrayer King. Wonder how many of those I have now. I've got, I think 3, maybe this is my 4th. Let's do another battle. Let's go into this deck real quick. Something's bothering me about it with the way that the land is kind of giving me problems with the colors. Not getting everything that I need right away. I don't think I have more than one of those though, right in this moment. Oh, there's a second one, right? Okay. So, that'll work. That'll give me choices more on the red. And there's still 69 cards. What's our average? 2.7. Let's go ahead and take out one Usher the Fallen. It's only a 1-drop, but 69 is kind of pressing it. At least we get to go first. I'll take it. We're already looking a little bit better as far as being able to play all the cards. Warrior, 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 warrior. I guess you could call this a warrior tribal deck too if you wanted to. Let's see, I really do need a red source, don't I? What is my opponent doing? Why are they so slow? I always have to wait for the right assemblage of colored lands before I can make my plays. They're evidently just going to sit there. Okay, I need to start getting a swamp in there. Maybe I might play this differently sometimes, but the thing is, it's an equipment deck. And here I had a chance to get the equipment, get it out, equip it, and use it with the double striker. It's probably as good as anything else I might have done. I figure as soon as I get the equipment on an equipment deck designed to show you how equip works, I should do it. We don't like you. You can probably kill my person there. But, let's see. Do I mind if you kill them? If I have this out. You're tapped out, so you can't buff up. Okay, so you're just going to take the damage. That is acceptable to us. That is also acceptable to us. And we're only going to send the Kor Blademaster at you again with Double Strike. You can sacrifice the Lieutenant and he'll come back as a flyer. And my Blademaster will die and come back into my hands. All of it you probably like, except for me getting my creature back. You probably like having this little 3/4 flyer that gets to buff up your Broodmoth again. I kind of want to have 2 turns here to get everything in play with Winota and still equip my equipment. But it's mostly going to be a suicide run right now, the way things stand. Everybody gets +1/+1. Will you do it? If you attack with both, you can kill me in 2 turns. He's got Vigilance, right? You know to give me something. Hallowblade. That's it. That was enough to win. Let's look at that battlefield for a second. That was just the right blend of Winota plus equipped warriors. You know, I'm not sure how playable this deck is, but it did pretty well so far. Okay, let's just do a quick wrap up on this. We'll change the deck layout to show you. I only have the 1/5 drop with Doomscar, handful of 4 drops. We got plenty of 2 and 3 drops. I like having the Legion Angel and having the sideboard in here with this. But still, it's kind of an expensive deck. It's 68 cards. I still feel like there's 1 or 2 cards in there too many, or maybe 1 or 2 few lands. We had a really good run tonight when I went to go do the demonstration. I've only playtested this once before, and it was much more mixed and having trouble getting the right lands out and stuff like that. So, again, not sure how playable it is, but we had fun with it tonight, and we were able to play with our toys, our equipment, get them equipped okay. So, for the demonstration purposes of just the mechanic itself, I think this went pretty well. If I was going to continue to do something with this, I'd probably tweak it a little bit more somehow. I probably just need to try and narrow it down a tiny bit more, just to make sure that you don't have those land problems. Even if it means giving up your equipment. You know, maybe there's 1 too many Shadowspears in there. Maybe there's 1 too many Scythes in there. That kind of thing. But anyway, that's our deck for tonight. Tune in tomorrow. We'll have a different one, a new one. We'll concentrate on a new mechanic. If you liked any part of what you saw tonight, please consider clicking the like button and or clicking the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Have a good one.